Hey y'all, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Morgan, and welcome to day 8 of our 13-day countdown to Halloween, where we talk about nothing but Appalachian folklore. We read some Appalachian stories, and we even look at a few creepy pictures and clips from the area. Now, like I said, this is day 8, so after you watch this one, if you have not seen the others, please go check all of them out. They are all in order. I have uploaded every single day, and I have adored doing it, and I hope you guys have loved it as much as I have. But like I said, welcome to day 8, and on day 8, we are going to be talking about the strange lights that are seen in these mountains. Now, there are several theories about what these lights are, and that really depends on where you're seeing them. And I'm not talking about the area, I'm talking about the height off the ground. So there are lights in the trees that some people think are fae, some think they are the harmful things in the trees trying to trick you and lure you and get you to follow them so you walk directly to them. And then there's the lights in the sky that a lot of people think are UFOs or military training or anything of that nature. Hence the Brown Mountain Lights. Now, if you don't know what the Brown Mountain Lights are, I think I've done a video on them, but they are lights that are seen over Brown Mountain, which is a mountain in Pisgah National Forest in North Carolina, and no one has been able to figure them out. The government has looked into them. Scientists have looked into them. There was a whole study done at nearby Appalachian State University. No one can figure out what they are. Anytime they think they're about to solve it, it just gets canned. Like at the beginning, they were like, oh, it's probably train. It's probably like a train that goes through there because it was kind of in the trees at that time. Train tracks get washed out, lights still seen. And now they're in the sky too. So it's like a whole situation. And these lights are super common in Appalachia. I would say the whistling and the red eyes. Oh my God. Hello? That was so strange. Okay. What? Okay. Can you guys still hear me? Okay. Hated that. What was I talking about? I would say the red eyes, the lights, and the whistling are the most common occurrences that happen in Appalachia. I don't know many people that haven't experienced a weird light situation. Like, I know more people that have than have not, and that's not really common with Appalachian folklore stuff. So I do want to tell a personal story, and then I have a few to tell you as well, and I'm super excited. So I've seen these lights quite a few times, and so have members of my family, and I'll try to run through them really quickly because I have quite a few stories on this. But the most notable time that I want to talk about occurred when I was probably 18 years old. Now, when I was 18, I had just gotten with my then boyfriend, now husband, and I remember it was probably 1 or 2 in the morning. I worked at a local movie theater. It was Friday night, so I got off really late, and I was running to my house to grab my bag to then go to his house, which was 40 minutes away. So I remember having just left my house, I had my bag, and to get to his house, you had to take a few back roads before you got to a highway, and then it was like all highway. But I was on these back roads, and I remember seeing a bright light in my rearview mirror, and I was just immediately mad because I assumed it was a huge truck that had no business having LED lights that bright, and just automatically irritated. So I was like driving like I'm 100 years old, like face to the wheel, trying not to let the lights trying not to let these lights blind me from the mirror. And I happened to look up and I saw that it was a singular light and it was rising. It was pretty high up behind me now. Like, I watched it rise up. It followed me all the way out of the trees, and it was horrifying. I felt like I was being chased. I still remember that awful gut feeling that I had, and I don't think it's normal that a light make you feel like that. It was brighter than any light I've seen, I swear. Like, it's what I envisioned Stephen King was thinking of when he wrote about the, like, light in Pennywise's mouth. Like, it was terrible. That area that it happened in was not far from my family's farm, and on that, I know of 2 sightings that have happened there, one with my dad and aunt, where they saw this weird triangular light in the sky. They think that was more UFO based. I don't know about mine. There was also a really bright light, kind of like the one I described, that chased a few family friends off of the mountain. They were up there hunting, but literally followed them all the way out of the woods until they got out. So yeah, it's a strange area, and Appalachia is just known for its weird lights. Now, what it is, I have no idea. I kind of think it's a little bit of all the above stuff that I mentioned. But let's read some stories that you guys have sent in to me. I've enjoyed learning about the paranormal since I was a little girl. It's just fascinated me for as long as I can remember. The moment I realized you could be a ghost hunter, I started begging my parents to take me on amateur investigations. My family's Christian, and we all believe in ghosts, angels, and demons. So before venturing out into the unknown, my parents taught me the do's and don'ts. No places where demonic activity has been reported. Don't ever invite something into your body. We're just humans. No matter how certain we are, we never really know what we could be taking out there. Don't forget to pray before for protection, after for cleansing and continued safety. I taught them some things I picked up from researching too, and I'd always be polite but firm in asking the spirits to stay at the location when we leave. They're never allowed to be home with you, and always trust what your gut is telling you. So that became a sort of fun family experience for us. My dad and I would research a place online, and we'd scope it out during the day and bring my mom along, who's sensitive. And if we all decided the place seemed okay, we'd come back another day after dark to do the investigation. This worked flawlessly for years. We never experienced anything negative and never encountered anything of the paranormal realm that made us feel unsafe, until we broke our first rule. This would probably be a good time to tell you that we live in East Tennessee, basically the Valley of Appalachia. My dad's found a location online called Red Ash. It's a small mining town in Caryville, Tennessee that was founded in 1891. There have been plenty of reports of an 8-foot-tall demonic goat man both underneath the old bridge and at the cemetery up on the hill. For some reason, this didn't put my dad off like it normally would. I was hesitant at first, but we agreed to go to just be more cautious and stick to our routine. So the next weekend, my dad and I set off to Red Ash on a sunny Saturday afternoon to see what we were up against. The drive was beautiful. We didn't get any bad vibes. We even rolled the windows down because the weather was so nice. The whole trip went without incident. We were both feeling really good about it, and several weeks later we went back at around 4 p.m. It was summer, so there would still be light for a while, but it was just close enough to dusk once we drove the loop and came back out to get a hint of what the energy would feel like closer to dark. Again, just like the last time, it felt fine, welcoming even. At that point, I had no reservations about coming back at dusk, nor did my dad. So the next time we came, we ended up being about a month or so later. If I'm remembering correctly, we came at dusk and brought my mom. This was the true test. My mom has never claimed to be a medium or anything of the sort, but she's very sensitive to the paranormal. Around 9 times out of 10, if there's something nasty somewhere, she'll feel it. The light was slipping away, and my dad and I told her to get out of the car, and we walked around a little to take pictures. I felt a little creeped out, but sometimes I did that when we were in a new place that close to dark, so I brushed it off. I normally don't get those feelings regarding energy with the paranormal the way my mom does. Usually for me, it's the living I can pick up vibes from. I figured it was just me being nervous, and I was convinced after my mom told us that she didn't feel any bad vibes from the place. So we went home and considered my trip successful. The next phase was going into full darkness for a nighttime investigation. It was another month or so before we decided to go back. The span of time between visits really didn't click for any of us until later, but we were all subconsciously hesitant to return. We planned our visit a week in advance, as per usual, but when I woke up on that Saturday afternoon, I was nervous, uncharacteristically. I'm usually the one running towards all this stuff, so I was a bit baffled by my own anxiety. But like a fool, I ignored it. Nighttime came, and although there was a moon in the sky, it was one of the darkest nights I can ever remember being out in my entire life. We all pile into the car, me in the back seat, and we go to dinner in a drive-thru in Caryville before heading towards Red Ash. As soon as we go out onto that little road away from most of civilization, my anxiety had severely spiked. I'd never entered fight or flight state, but I tried to school my breathing and fight through it as we made our way down the tiny 2-lane road in pitch black darkness. There are no streetlights back there, no buildings besides the remnants of charred coal towers, and no phone service to call for help. The farther back we got into those woods, the worse my feelings got. The only way that I can ever describe it is having every single negative emotion I've ever experienced amplified and piled on top of one another at the same time. You name it, I felt it. Sadness, rage, loneliness, fear, desperation, hopelessness. It was just getting stronger. Just before we rounded a bend to reach the old half-burnt iron bridge, I felt something enter the car with us, right next to me in the seat beside me. I turned my head to look, fully convinced I was about to see something horrible, but there was no one there. And yet I knew that there was. I felt it. It was right there, and it wanted me. I've never before felt something that evil. I thank God I haven't since. I started yelling to my dad that we had to turn around and get out of there. And I was asking my mom in a panic if she felt what I was feeling. She said she didn't feel great, but that she wasn't feeling anywhere near as bad as I was. But thankfully, because my parents have both always believed in the supernatural and are very open-minded, they listened to me. There were not many places to pull over and turn around, so we had to go under the old bridge first. But the first chance we got, we turned around. We were on our way back, and I was still in a panicked state, praying as hard as I've ever prayed in my life. I was praying for protection from what I knew was bad with all my heart. I was focused so hard on trying to keep it at bay that I wasn't paying attention to what was going on around me until I heard my mom shout, "Don't hit it." I looked up to the road, but saw nothing. My dad kept asking, "Hit what? Hit what?" And my mom said, The huge black dog. Neither my dad nor I saw that dog that she was talking about, and I can't quite remember who said something first, but my parents saw a fog in front of the car not long after that. They said it was just the front of the car on the road, not anywhere else beside the road or up the mountainside. I didn't see it in front of us, but several seconds later, I felt the presence finally leave the car. I looked out the back window and saw a white fog regather in the road where the car had just passed. I was still scared out of my mind, but the sense of impending doom had finally left me. I felt more and more grounded as we continued back to civilization and away from that place. Later on, I asked my parents to tell me what they had seen or experienced. My mom was talking about the large black dog, nearly the size of a wolf. She saw it run from the side of the road where there was just an open field with a downward sloping hill. She said she had no idea where it had come from because it likely had simply appeared on the side of the road and ran alongside the passenger side of the car, then across the road and disappeared before it could run up the hill. My dad was driving but never saw anything like that cross the road in front of him. Moments later, he saw a black fog in front of the car. My mom backed up and claimed except the fog she saw was white. I didn't see the fog in front of the car at all, but I told him that I'd seen it behind the car when we'd passed through. I saw it as a white fog, and that driving through that fog corresponded with the evil presence leaving the car. To this day, we talk about that experience, recounting the story in our own versions, because we all experienced something a little differently. One of the strangest parts is that all of us remember the layout of that road differently, too. I remember a little white church at the beginning of the road on the left, and my parents don't. My mom remembers the field as flat, and my dad and I remember it as sloped away from the road with a river running through it at the bottom. The landmarks are also jumbled up in our memories. We'll never find out the truth because we vowed to never return, despite the fact that the location still calls to me to this very day. I know that if I did, that creature would still be waiting, and it might not fail this time. Okay, I'm not sure why I picked that one for this because there was no light, but I'm glad I did because it still kind of follows in the same realm of everything. Okay, I'm gonna Google where this is because I'm in Southwest Virginia. Caryville, Tennessee. Did I look up Caryville or Red Ash, Tennessee? Probably Red Ash, right? That's weird. My location services just like randomly turned off. Turn on in settings? Why were they off? It literally popped up for just a second and it was like, can't find location. Okay. Let's look up Caryville, Tennessee. What is going on? Okay, Caryville, Tennessee. That's only 3 hours from me. Should we road trip it? I want to go. Okay, I am going to look into this place and we might go. What do you guys think? Would you guys like that? Would you guys love or hate that video? Don't let me forget about it. We're gonna potentially do that. So one of the stories that I read yesterday duplicated like 7 times on this and like deleted the rest of my stories that I had picked. What is going on right now? Nothing weird was happening until I read that story. Everything's glitching on my iPad. What is happening? Okay, I guess we'll just cut it there. Thankfully, I told you guys several stories, even if they were just my personal ones, but what in the... We're going to this place. We are going to this place. Anyways, I love you guys. I will see you tomorrow.